Hello, my dear gardeners! You know what, this is supposed to be a gardening video, but it is connected to gardening. I'm going to recreate my garden design in gingerbread cookies style. So it's going to be, honestly, I have no idea what it's going to be, but I'm having fun creating different individual pieces. Like, for example, look at this. This is my wattle fence. And then we have a squirrel. Well, squirrel fattened up during baking. She's going to be on my fence, climbing around. And look at this house. Of course, the house is stylized. It doesn't look like my house. But since I wanted to have a house in the middle of my garden, and I'm going to try to keep the proportions and include some of the details, of course, this is Lady of Shalott, my rose. And I'm thinking that I'm not going to include a lot of color into this I don't know, panorama, gingerbread panorama. I will just use frosting, white frosting, and at the end, I'm going to frost it all with the snow, as my garden sometimes, as it looks in the middle of the winter. So, this is going to be interesting. I have no idea where it's going to end up, this project, so I'm taking you along. I have a funny tradition in the family. Every time when I work with the dough, I make this interesting face, like an old lady's face or old gentleman's face. And then when somebody comes to say hello, or I call somebody to say hello in the kitchen, and that interesting face just goes like that, and kisses my kids or my husband into their cheek. Now, how can I do the sofa in my backyard? You know, the big part of my backyard is our sofa where we spend a lot of time, but I can't really do it in 3D, so maybe I will do it in 2 dimensions, but we'll fake the sofa design. How do I do that? I have no idea. Let's try it. Let's just play as kids, you know? My fragile sofa looks like a hippopotamus, but we all know, you and me, that this is sofa. I love birds in the garden, so I'm going to fill my garden with beautiful birds. I am almost out of my gingerbread dough, and I have to make the owner of the garden, me and my husband. My husband joked that he said that make us slimmer, use less dough on us. Funny, funny. Please get acquainted. Gingerbread, Mr. and Mrs. Carmody. Dee 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 dee. I didn't have to make them skinny. They fattened up during baking. Results are very encouraging 1 day later. So I baked all these gingerbread cookies and I let them stay outside to harden a little bit. And all of them are really good, except my tree. I underbaked it a little bit, so you see it's kind of soft here in the middle. So maybe I'm going to put it in the oven for another 5 minutes, and it will be well cooked, and I don't think my kids will have any issues eating tough gingerbread cookies. You know, students from college hungry for home goods, which is all good. Look at my Lady of Shalott. I'm happy as a kid because it looks so good. The project can be marvelous. I look forward to putting it all together. And for decorations, I'm going to use just confectioner's sugar, and I mix it with a teeny tiny bit of water. And at the end of my plastic sleeve, I have a very tiny little opening. So it creates really detailed design. So I'm going to do it only in white and brown. No additions of colorful cookies and candies and all that sort of stuff, right? I like it to be white and brown because there are so many details here and they would be lost if I would add a lot of color. So only white confectioner's sugar with water. The holidays, I would always make just gingerbread cookies, so I didn't have to glue them with some sort of a food glue, right? So here I started to research on the internet and I found out that melted and cooked sugar, just sugar on its own, would be a great way to cement all pieces together. I never did it before. Let's see how that goes. Oh, this is dripping. The disadvantage of it is that it hardens really well. So I have to work really quickly and put it all together while my sugar is still liquid. So my sugar is ready, and it's only sugar on heat. It melts so well and it turned into this brown, nice brown color, which is very good because it will fit so well and will hide between the gingerbread dough, right? Beautiful, I love it. It takes time for it to harden, but once it's hardened, it holds pieces together so well. I love it. Now, on another side of the garden, we have our several big trees, and I baked it, so one leaf fell off. I'm going to, how was it, like this? Okay, I'm going to glue it together. So my tree would be growing on another side. Next to the evergreen yew, we have beautiful wattle fans. So let's put it like this here. You just have to make sure that it holds. Yeah, good. Now, in front, no, let's actually do this. At the back here, we have several arborvitaes growing really well. In front, right here, we have our beautiful arch where I have, ooh, it looks burnt. All right, we are going to fix it because it doesn't look really good. Ooh, we will switch the sides here. We will do it this way. There you go. And we have two new dawn roses growing on both sides. Here we go. In front of the wattle fence, we have two raised beds. I have a pot with sedum right here. Now we have little boxwoods growing. Okay, I'm taking this boxwood out and planting it here. Woods growing in the front. Okay. Here we have an arch of beautiful rose. Generous gardener growing on the arch, and under the arch we have a swing. I wasn't able to make a swing, so we will just know that this is the arch. Near the arch, the butterfly bush with its very distinctive growing habit. Here we go, standing well. Wattle fence on the side. We have to fit a bird bath somewhere here. Right, good. And a beauty bush. Ooh, we have to fit you somewhere here, beauty bush, because you are growing right here. Beauty bush is marvelous in spring, but then the rest of the year, it just sits there and does nothing. But I love its blooms in the middle of spring, and I forgive it its kind of mediocre performance during the rest of the season. A bird is going to sit right here. This very awkward and out of proportion sofa, so off it goes. It probably will be eaten first one. And look at this, my house. It's supposed to be here, but it's going to block all the garden. So house is out as well. My garden in gingerbread cookies is done. Welcome to Olga's garden. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And of course, in the center we have Mr. and Mrs. Carmody. I wonder who's going to be eaten first, Mr. Carmody or Mrs. Carmody. To the left of them, the prominent place is given to Lady of Shalott. She's my favorite in the garden, undisputed favorite. A little squirrel being covered by snow. At the back of the squirrel, we have a beautiful arch which became fat in the oven, but this is supposed to be the arch with roses growing on both sides. That's new dawn rose right here, surrounded by little boxwoods, and plenty of birds around. And on top of the arch, which I made myself by the way, is another bird. Actually there are two of them. One in the nest, a little cardinal sitting, and at the bottom we have a bird as well. This is a squirrel. It's supposed to be on the fence, but she looks a little bit like a beaver. She beefed up in the oven. My husband joked that this is a beaver, not a squirrel. Look at this little fellow. So I decided just to keep her here on the ground among the snow. Boxwoods at the end. The tree at the back with birdies on top chirping their happy songs. My arborvitae's at the back. And in one of the raised beds we have rhubarb growing. All right. Next to the wattle fence is another arch. And this arch hosts the generous gardener rose. Behind it is a beautiful yew, old yew. We let it grow, and it has a beautiful background for my rose. It has a dark green color. A little birdie sitting on another wattle fence. Arborvitae is growing. Actually, I wanted this arborvitae to grow right there somewhere, but it would be too big, out of proportions, so I decided not to do it. So here you have it, my garden in gingerbread. Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy New Year.